do it.
No, you're fine.
Okay. All right, we're here at the City County building. We're going to be trying to bring you 3 hours of information about what's happening with the election. Erica is with us tonight, and I'll introduce you more. Yeah, say your last name.
My name is Erica Aplanop.
Planup. And she's going to be part of our coverage tonight. After I kind of give a little bit more information, we'll give you a chance to explain. But she is also going to be giving a lot of the information after I read it in English. Then she's going to go over some stuff in Spanish, hoping to bring an interest to the different communities that we have in Salina.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to just go over at first what candidates we have running. Okay, we have candidates running in the 69th district, okay? And it's important that you know those are West Salina precincts and South precincts. We also have Clark Sanders and Ryan Holmquist facing off in the 71st District, and those are the East Salina precincts. We also have contested Stephen Howe, who is a Republican, and Jeff Zammerslaw, who's a Democrat. We have some unopposed. Running unopposed in District 108 is Stephen Johnson, a Republican in Southern Saline County. Running unopposed also is Senate District 24, J.R. Clays. If you've been around Salina for a while, you know J.R. Clays is have been in politics for a while and is trying to move up and be a senator. And then also, writing candidate for Senate District 24, Randy Harding. Okay, and one of the big things tonight, too, we didn't get a chance to talk about this. All it says is jail vote there. But the citizens have gotten an opportunity to vote whether they want to have a new jail. That'll be a really good thing to watch and follow. So, okay, what I'm going to do now, we have some more introduction, but I want to introduce Erica and give you a little more information. Erica Planup.
Yes.
Is that about right? Okay. So, like I said, she is going to give information in Spanish, but I just want to let the viewers know, and me asking too, how did you get interested? What made you come over to Salina Media Connection and try to get helping us out?
So I live here for 13 years. So, and when I see the how people need different servers, and some people for the language or some people for the legal state, they don't go and ask. So I think we needed more information because now the community Hispanic is big and big.
Mm-hmm. Very big.
Yes. So I think we needed they know about what happened in town, what happened in Salina.
Yeah.
So that is how I want to be part of this program. And
Great.
so we have almost open the project
Right.
for I can transmit to the people in Spanish what happened in the city.
Right. Okay, so I'm just going to pass this over, and she's going to read that part that I introduced us with, and she's going to speak Spanish, and we'll get to listen to her lovely words. I don't know Spanish, but I'm sure you'll sound wonderful. And if you're not sure of something, were you going to say that you weren't sure of?
Okay,
Did it
so
make sense to you?
we have a Clark Sanders and Ryan Holmans. So they go for the 75 district. It's Salina president.
Yes.
We have an Stephen Home and Jeff
Zammerslaw.
Right. We have a running opposite district.
Unopposed, yeah.
108 Stephen Johnson for Salina County.
You
So
can actually hear that it should be Saline. Okay.
Saline County. Also, we have the running opposite
Unopposed, right,
Senate
right.
District for the 24 GR Greg Art.
Uh-huh.
So, and right Senator race District 24 Randy Hardy.
Right, right.
Okay.
And if you want to just start at the top and then kind of end here, we'll be around on the same page.
Okay.
And be able to follow each other.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
You can just welcome them again and say that you're glad they're watching, however you want to.
okay. So, welcome everybody. So we are here tonight for transmit these the elections. So I think it's very important. So today mark the big difference how they be the next 4 years in the country. So we start for a couple hours for see who is the new president, right?
Right.
So it's very excited right now because the next hours they be mark the fusion for this country in the next 4 years.
Absolutely.
So many people, Hispanic, many Latinos, they come in to vote this day, and they the previous. I think that's very important. We do that because we need. They need to know we are important in the community.
Right.
So, and any vote from the Hispanic people, Latino people is
Right.
important.
Very
So
true.
we mark the difference absolutely. So we see how the
That's great, yeah.
the results.
Right. Okay, you're gonna go, you're gonna go down the, okay, go ahead.
So today is very interesting, the Salina jail that we bought because they want, they need a new installations, right?
Right.
That is something is very interesting because they really need the installations, the building they have, they
Yeah.
really need change.
Right.
So do you want to talk more about
Going
this
down
part?
here, well, do you want to go over this in Spanish? Speak to them, speak to those people who can understand you, and I start with the English and then hand it to you with Spanish, or do you see a better way of doing it?
It's okay, I can do it in Spanish.
Okay, well, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. And then I'll start on that second part. Yeah, so go ahead and start up there, which you already did that.
Okay.
Welcome.
So,
Yeah.
I'm Erica Plano. So I be do the Spanish presentation tonight. So everything happened here. So we try doing Spanish language for you guys know what happened. So we cover it for Salina Media Connections. So 69 District explained where it is president in the south and West Salina president and South presidents. So we have a Clark Sanders and Ryan Hawkins.
Oh, yeah.
They go for the first district, it's Salina presidents. We have Stephen Home and Jeff Sumner.
Yeah,
So
that was good.
running opposite district, 108 Stephen Johnson, Southern Salina County, running opposite for Senate,
yeah.
District 24 GR, Greg Art, Senate race, District 24 Randy Hardy.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll go on to the next part, and we'll just get started that way. And later, we're going to be doing some interviews with some of the people we have. Hi, Clark. So we can keep our 3 hours going. And, you know, if we can do interviews together with one person,
Okay.
we can set up a chair,
All right.
whatever. Okay, so then we are also going to be paying attention to the coverage of state and national tallies from Saline County. We have a very big race that has been very close. For Kansas Senate, Roger Marshall is the Republican, and Barbara Bollier is the Democrat. Also, for 1st District Representative, Callie Barnett is the Democrat, and 1st District Representative Tracy Mann is the Republican. All right, and of course, as you mentioned, we're also going to try to give you information. We've decided, at least to begin with, if giving you national information as we get it. We're going to at least kind of try to start out with the CNN election coverage. We'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll find a better site. So we'll also be able to give you numbers, how Donald Trump did in Kansas, and of course we'll give you national totals, and how Vice President Joe Biden did in Kansas, and national totals as well. So, like I said, local, state, and national. We have the jail vote, which is a big deal too, and we'll have Jamie Doss. She's the county clerk, and she'll come down periodically and give the latest numbers. Okay. If you want to talk about this stuff in Spanish, we kind of just stopped about right there.
So, the coverage of the state and national tallies from the Salina County, Kansas Senado is Roger Marshall. So we have a Kansas Senate, Barbara Boyer. First District Representative is Kelly Barnett. The First District Representative is, we have also Tracy Ment. The coverage of national race, we have the President Donald Trump, and we have the Vice President Joe Biden in Kansas national totals. Okay?
All right, great. All right, so now I think Alan said that he talked to Jamie Doss yesterday, and she's going to come down probably about 7:40, and she's going to be bringing the advance ballots and the by-mail ballots.
Okay.
So those will be counted, which, I think we could talk a little bit about that. From what I'm understanding about what's happening here, in Salina County, and in lots of places, it looks like there's a lot more advance voting and by mail. What are your thoughts on some of that as all of this has moved around COVID? And
Yes.
what are you thinking about how this election looks with its differences?
This time is totally different because I know people are scared go and vote in person for the COVID. So many people do with the time by mail. But in my case, I'm not really sure. Same this year for the mail, so this time. So I go this morning in person. I did, but I understand so many people are scared about the situation. That's what they did with advance, with the time, and they send by mail.
Right.
So, but we see how that.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll at least find out a little bit about Salina County when Jamie comes down for her first numbers.
Yes.
All right. We also, let's see. Well, we're going to try to bring, I guess, we could kind of look. I don't know if at this point they would have any of the presidential votes counted yet. I would say, I think the word I might use to describe how that campaign has gone between Biden and Trump, I would say maybe the word would be contentious. And that's a nice way of saying that it's just they have so many differences, and there's been so many things that have happened. As you said, this is going to really make a difference on how our next 4 years have gone. How do you think each of the candidates have appeared to our country?
Can you be more specific in your question?
I'm thinking, Joe Biden is just so rather quiet. I mean, he talks, but when he was younger, he had a stutter. I watched a little bit of a documentary. So he's very measured and, thinks about what he's talking about. And maybe a little bit boring. I mean, it doesn't mean that's bad, but you know what I mean. And Trump, on the other hand, he is never boring. And he speaks off the top of his head and engages reporters. And they're very different candidates. Do you think that will have been a good thing or a harder thing for our country that's voting one way or the other, because they're so different?
Did you talk about how the personality each one have?
Yes.
We can, in the last 4 years, we can see how is the personality Trump. So he can show different personalities in different times. I can say the community Hispanic now, we are half and half. So no everybody is with Trump, or no everybody is with Biden. So it's kind of difficult can do the prediction right now, because I can when I talk with friends, so we talk about what is what they can see good right now in Trump, what is bad, but also in the other side, what they see is not right.
Right.
So I'm so excited for see the results.
Yes, yeah, it is going to be very exciting. And I mentioned too when we went in to who was running for Kansas Senate, the Roger Marshall and Barbara Bollier race. That will be very interesting to see. Like I said, I just saw a poll. She's a couple points behind him, but they've been real close. And the thing is, if she would win, then that would put a Democrat in the Senate. And the Democrats want more of that, and Republicans want to keep Roger Marshall. So that's going to be very, very interesting to watch also. Let's see. Well, we're going to try to get interviews as we go along. It's getting close to, I think, a time when Jamie Doss is going to come down. I think we're going to go ahead and take a small break, and we're just going to have a shot of the room while we do that, and we can kind of gather up what we want to talk about next and maybe see if we can figure out an interview.
Okay.
All right, we'll just go to that, and we'll
Hi.
So I'm Erica Plano. I live in this town, in this city for around 13 years.
Okay.
So I be part of the community Hispanic. So I would say thank you for have the time to talk with me. So
Glad to do it, Erica.
I want to tell you good luck tonight.
Thank you.
And I have a couple questions for you.
Okay, here we go.
So we want to know what Salina need a big jail. What are you thinking about that?
Well, the main reason that we need a bigger jail is because we're spending a lot of money housing prisoners outside of the county, and we're paying a lot of money outside of Salina County. We built Ottawa County's jail for them just off of the rents that we pay. But I support the right of the people to decide that for themselves. And, you know, $89.5 million is a pretty hefty price tag. And if people think that's a bit too much, and if that's the way the vote turns out, I would certainly support that. One of the things that we could do at the state level is if we could reduce the need for people to be in jail, I think that would be helpful. So, for example, nonviolent drug offenders, they don't necessarily need to be in jail. We've got a situation, a surge program here in town, which is restorative justice. I'd like to see that expanded. I mean, if you come and take my stuff, I don't care whether or not you go to jail. I care that you give me my stuff back, right?
Yes.
So I think the restorative justice is a great idea that could keep people out of jail. Now, if you go and you take somebody else's stuff, well, then you got to go to jail. But there are things that we could certainly do that would reduce the jail population, and I think that would help. And that's something we could do at the state level.
Okay, thank you. So I be part of the community Hispanic people here in town. So what is your opinion about the Hispanic people in Salina?
Well, I think they're great. I'm not quite sure what the percentage is these days. I think it's 10, 12% last time I looked. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any problems with the folks in the Hispanic community. I don't have any problems with the folks in the black community. I have problems with people who don't obey our laws. You know, you obey our laws, you'll get along with me fine.
Okay. So what are you thinking about the use a mask all the time? So you agree with that? So you think they need to be...
Actually, I don't agree with that. As far as I'm concerned, there's a whole lot more we don't know about COVID than what we do know. I heard a report just a day or two ago that somebody is looking into the possibility of masks might contribute to pneumonia. And but one thing that I was happy that we were able to get done, Governor Kelly wanted a statewide mask mandate. In fact, she's talking about that again. And the Republicans were able to prevent that, and they were able to turn it again over to the local units of government. So the city commission and the county commission, although they made a decision that I don't happen to agree with, I agree that they were the right ones to be making that decision. But I would prefer that we not have to wear masks.
Okay. So you win. What is the first change you will doing for the community?
If I win?
Yes. What is the first change we be see?
Well, hopefully we'll see value them both get on a ballot in an August primary. That would be a big thing that I'd want. Hopefully we'll see fair and equitable district lines drawn, because the people who get elected this election will be redrawing the lines because it's a census year. So those are a couple of big things.
Good. Okay. So
All right.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So I think she had a couple questions for you too.
Oh, yes, that's a good idea. We'll just trade. Yes. You didn't know you were going to get interviewed by 2 people.
Oh,
didn't you?
well, there you go. I don't know if I can handle it, but I'll try.
Oh, well, we think you have enough words, right?
Okay. Generally, haven't had a shortage of words.
Yeah. You have to be somewhere at 8:15. Are you going to some kind of gathering?
Yes, there's an election night watch party being hosted by Tracy Mann.
Okay.
Tracy Mann is the candidate on the Republican side for U.S. Congress in the big first district.
Right.
He's looking to replace Roger Marshall, and he's having a party down south. So
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
yeah, I'm going to go down there.
So, she asked you some really nice questions. From her perspective, she has some different ideas on what to ask. It was really
Sure.
interesting hearing that. I also agree with you about not putting as many people in jail, nonviolent
Yeah.
drug offenders. That to me seems a real big one. But it takes that's like this process where Kansas lawmakers, that would be you, they have to, well, it might be, they have to formulate that bill, make it a statute, and
Right.
and it comes down and I mean, it seems as if we should start sooner rather than later.
Well, here again, regardless of what I personally feel about a jail project here in Salina, it's definitely a home rule project. And it's on the ballot, which is where it belongs, and the citizens of Saline County get to vote on it. I got to vote on it today. I'm not going to tell you how I voted, but I did get to vote on it today.
Yes.
And that's the way it should be.
Right. Clark, you're known as a good leader, a good representation of the conservative community.
Yes.
And that has really, you've really done well with that because Salina, Kansas, the Bible Belt, there's a lot of conservative Republicans.
Let's hope a lot of them live in the 69th district.
You really didn't get to go out and talk to people, did you? Because of COVID.
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
You did it?
And so did my opponent. I mean, we were both out
Okay.
pounding the pavement and
Okay.
knocking doors.
So
I
this-
was, he was.
Yeah, so this,
We had people helping us.
this question is relevant then. So as you knocked on doors and talked to people who wanted to, what seemed to be the climate of what was going on with COVID, the elections? Was there fear? Was there anger?
You know, most people, when you ring the bell and they either come to the door or they don't. Obviously, if they come to the door, you have an opportunity to speak to them. If they don't, what I was doing was I was leaving my piece behind with a little Post-it note on saying, sorry I missed you. If you've got a question, call me. And I gave my cell phone
Very
number.
nice, yes.
And that probably generated about 3 or 4 calls.
Oh, really? That's
You know,
nice.
and
That's
so,
good, though.
So, what most people say is thank you, or good luck, or are you the Republican, or stuff like that. What do you think about Trump? Well, I'm a Trump supporter, and so COVID, came up, maybe a couple of times.
Yeah.
Medicinal marijuana came up 2 or 3 times.
Interesting. In what
And-
perspective did that come up?
Well, the people that I talked to were in favor of having it, and
Right.
I'm in favor of having it. I think there's way too much evidence that it does too much good for too many people.
And now we're
And-
surrounded by states that have it
Yeah, exactly.
legalized, yes.
So, anyway, but you would be surprised. There were 1 or 2. Well, there were 2 that, in particular, that we had a long conversation, and they were frankly worried about the direction this country may be
Yes.
headed.
Yes.
And obviously, talking to me, they were all in for President Trump, and they were all in for people like Roger Marshall and Tracy Mann.
Right.
And those were probably the 2 longest conversations I had. But here again, between me and my team, we hit thousands of doors.
That's
I
amazing.
personally hit at least 1,000 myself. And generally what you get is, I'll get good luck,
Yeah.
I'll get thanks for running.
And get out of my doorway.
Well, yeah, but they're not
mean.
unpleasant about it.
No.
They just, thanks for stopping by. But the thing that was really encouraging was after October 14th or 15th, I got people telling me, I've already voted for you.
Oh, nice.
And so,
yes. That was great.
And here's something that would probably drive my opponent nuts, but
no, really?
yeah, but I knocked on the first time it happened, and this was on the Saturday. The ballots went out on a Thursday.
Right.
So this couple apparently got theirs on Friday and voted it right away, and I was there on Saturday. And the guy was at the door and he said, "I've already voted." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I mean, he would have had to have done it like that morning.
Oh, yeah, immediately.
Immediately. He says, "I've already voted." And I said, "Well, did you vote for me?" And he goes, "I don't know." And so
I don't know.
I don't know is what he told me. And then his wife chimed in and she said, "Well, are you Republican or Democrat?" And I said, "Well, I'm the Republican." And together, like on cue, we voted for you.
Yes.
So
that was interesting
all they had
perspective.
done was they had gone down the ballot,
Right.
and everybody who had an R after their name, they voted for them.
Yes.
So, and I had that happen 3 times.
Yeah.
Where people, they didn't know whether or not they had voted for me.
Right.
But once I told them I was the Republican, yeah, I voted for you. Yeah.
Well, we talked about Ryan just for a minute. Clearly, you two have very opposing views
Yes.
on most things. The debate, was that set up? Were you guys calling it a debate or a forum?
Forum.
A forum, okay. I think both of you spoke very well. I know there was a little bit
of tension.
yeah, but let's see, how can I say this? The two of you together, I feel like, really represent nicely our Republicans and our Democrats.
Sure.
And speak well. I know Ryan because my 4 kids had him as a teacher.
Sure. And I hear he's a very good teacher.
He is,
and
yes.
I hope that the students of Salina Central get to benefit from his expertise during the second semester.
Right. What was it like having, and then I'll end because you have to go. What was it like having this campaign running against someone who really hadn't yet had experience doing it?
Well, I don't really want to comment much on his campaign. He raised a lot of money.
Did he?
Yeah, he spent a lot more money than what I spent, and I spent plenty. I mean, I spent close to $20,000 on this thing, and I think he spent significantly more than that.
Right.
But I was Ryan Holmquist, not in terms of politically speaking, but back in 1992.
Right.
Because that's the first time I ran for this seat.
Right.
And I look back on the campaign that I ran in 1992, I worked hard.
Oh, yeah.
I worked every bit as hard in 92 as I worked in 2020, but I didn't work very smart. And I had a lot of new perspectives, and I think that if he ends up running again, he'll run a better campaign because you'll learn from it.
You live and learn.
Yep.
That's what makes politics so exciting and always moving. You have to head out to your party. Clark, thank you so much. It's always, should be.
Should we do this?
Yes. It's always so nice to see you. I really wish you luck.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Okay, sounds good.
You can head on out.
Thank you.
We'll go back to the wide shot of the room. We're ready? Okay. Cerise Maddock, back for Salina Media Connection. Erica. Oh, I knew I wouldn't be able to get your last name right. Erica Apolanup, who we're glad to have with us, giving us a little bit of a different direction and ideas maybe than we've had before. And Jamie Das has decided to sit down with us and go over these early numbers. Why don't you just explain what we're looking at right now, where they came from?
Okay, so what we have right now is we have the early in-person, as well as the advance by mail, and 9 of the precincts on Election Day that are in these reports at this time. So.
Okay. So I see the numbers here. Voter turnout, 39.05. Registered voters total. How are those numbers comparing so far to what you've seen in past years?
Actually, our early in-person and our advance by mail has been a huge change in what we normally see.
Right.
Normally, what you see in the early, which is almost 6,000, is actually what we would see our mail and in person. So,
Wow.
so yeah, those by mail ballots have really increased this year, obviously
Yeah.
with the pandemic and everything.
Right. Talk a little bit about how you handled citizens' huge concern about making sure their votes got count.
So we obviously, if somebody applies for a ballot, then we check that application against their voter registration, and then we send them out a ballot. And then when we get that ballot back, we also check the signature and the information against their voter registration.
Right.
So then, once those are all accepted, then we have a board that comes in and counts the ballots every day. So
Okay.
it's a separate
Right.
board outside of our office. It's a bipartisan board that does that. So.
Nice. That's very good. I didn't know that. Okay. And jump in if you have a question anytime. She can move the mic to you. All right. Let's just start with this page 3.
Okay.
Jamie, and going down and giving us kind of the outlook and the numbers of these contested races.
Okay, so which, are you looking at just our local races or our Kansas House
I'm
races?
looking at, okay,
Okay.
let's see. Yes, this side,
Okay.
and then, I mean, none of these are,
We have contested races clear up to the U.S. Senate, so I didn't know.
Yeah, let's not go there yet.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
just go with as far as we are locally.
Okay, so we have the 69th district. Obviously, we have the Democrat Ryan Holmquist against the Republican Clark Sanders. Currently, where we're at is Clark has 2,556 and Ryan Holmquist 2,378. Then we have the 71st district, which is the Republican Stephen Howe and the Democrat Jeffrey Zammersla. Stephen Howe has 4,314, with Jeffrey Zammersla 2,608. And then on, that's it, actually, as
Of the
far as
contested.
of the contested in our state races, so.
Okay, so tell me just a little bit about, I know you never know exactly what numbers are going to do, but when you look at a 2,378 for Holmquist and 2,556 for Clark, when you start out and have candidates come that close, is it usually a pretty close race the whole way through, or can you even say?
It changes. I mean, we have a lot of the precincts that have huge turnouts have not been in yet, and so they're
Right.
not in these totals.
Right.
So, I mean, it could be really close right now, but until we get those higher turnout
Right.
precincts back to tally those in as well, we won't really have an
Yeah,
idea.
you just can't really tell. Okay, so we looked at all of that. Let's have you talk about the jail a little bit, the special question.
So the special question obviously is for a sales tax for a new jail system, which has obviously been on the ballot before, and we have it again now. And right now it's really close. I mean, just where we're at is for the yes votes, we have 7,825, and no votes is 6,388. So it's going to be really close, and another one of those that we're not going to know until actually, even until we do canvass, because we're going to have a lot of votes that'll still come in later.
Right, okay. Well, explain that process just a little bit. Okay, what are your time periods that things have to be in, and how long do you give it?
Okay, so there's a law that passed a few years ago where you can actually take your mail ballots out to your polling sites and drop them off, as long as you do it by 7 p.m. So we're still going to get those ones that are going to trickle in from the polling sites this evening that won't be in these
Okay.
tallies tonight.
Okay.
Then we're also going to have any mail ballot that is postmarked today can still be
Right.
received in our office until Friday and still be
Right.
counted.
Yeah, I
So
remember
we're going to
that.
have those 3 days of votes as well.
Right.
And then any vote that's provisional, which is someone who maybe had a name change or an address change,
Right.
maybe didn't get their ballot in the mail and had to come in and do a replacement, those are all provisional. So those aren't counted until canvass, which is November 16th.
Wow.
So, and if someone also didn't have an ID when they went to the polls, they have until November 16th to bring that
To
in.
bring the ID
So
in.
that we can count that provisional at canvass. So that's not till November 16th. So we'll probably have a good 500 to 600 of those. So even those close
Interesting,
races,
yes.
we won't know until then.
I mean, I kind of knew that that's how you guys did it. But as you talk about it, I mean, Saline County is very organized, and there aren't any things like, well, what about it? You guys have a system. Is Kansas's system in place well, too?
Those are Kansas laws that we follow. So all of those are in place statewide.
Yes.
So these results tonight are going to be unofficial everywhere.
Right.
And every county actually can have their canvass anytime within the 13 days after the election. I chose on November 16th, but other
Right.
counties are going to be at different times.
Right.
And until that gets all reported to the state, we might not know some of those.
And that is one of those things where if it comes down to close, the race isn't called until after that whole process.
Absolutely.
What comes to mind first, of course, to me is Florida and the hanging chads. It seemed to go on forever, but it's nice to know you have a system in place for that.
Yeah.
Okay, we talked about the jail. Is that it then?
Minus the national races, yep, that's it.
Yeah, let's talk about the national races.
Well, we also have, obviously, the U.S. House of Representative, the 1st District, which is Tracy Mann, the Republican, and the Democrat, Callie Barnett. Tracy has 8,758, with Callie at 5,732. And obviously, the United States Senate is a huge contested race that people are pretty well aware of. And we have 3 candidates there. The Republican Roger Marshall has 7,610. The Democrat Barbara Boyer has 454. And the Libertarian Jason Buckley has 609. And then obviously the presidential candidates with Trump and Pence. The Republican candidate is 8,172. The Democratic candidates Biden and Harris is 6,206. And then the Libertarian is Jorgensen and Cohen with 339.
Okay, as you're running through these numbers, what is kind of going to be the next area that you'll come down and tell us about?
It's just whatever precincts made it
What
in.
will come in.
And they all come in at different
Right.
times depending on where they're located within the county. So
Yeah, and we're probably not your first goal in what you're doing tonight,
absolutely,
right? But we appreciate
we put them on
you
the
coming.
website. We put them on the website. Then we come down here, and so we'll be
Great.
down here in a little bit.
Do you want to sit in my spot and ask her any questions, or are you good?
Okay, we can share.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Jamie, I have a question for you. So, what is the difference you see in the election this year than 4 years ago?
That's a good question, actually. This election this year, between 4 years ago, obviously, is the amount of contested races that we had. We had a few contested races last time, but not as many as we did this year. And just the amount of turnout that we've had in person and by mail has changed a lot. I think as far as, people getting out the polls, I think a lot more people were informed, a lot more people had their ID on them, a lot more people this year, thankfully, remembered to sign their ballot envelopes that came back. I mean, we've had a lot of good education out there, and I think people were really informed and out to vote. And I think the thing that I'm the proudest of is we've had so many first-time voters this year. So not only 18-year-olds that we actually had an 18-year-old that came out for their birthday because that's what they wanted to do was vote in the presidential election on their birthday. But we also had a lot of people who were even older that had just never voted before, and they got out this year. And I think that's been a great thing to see.
Yes. Any more questions for her?
So
No.
the community Hispanic here in town, they really do the vote this year.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people that, haven't, like I said, haven't voted before, or you don't see out in maybe the city school elections or whatever, but they've really gotten, found this important and been out, both in the Hispanic community as well as in the Asian community. We've had everybody out, and it's been really great to see.
Jamie, we'll let you go back up and do what you do, furiously counting in a corner. No, I know you don't. And we'll be looking forward to the next report.
Okay.
And thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Okay. Great. Jamie, you're awesome.
Thank you.
We are on TV doing this. Because what we're doing. No, you look great. Okay, we're on. All right, we're back and fortunate enough to have Janice Morris with us, chairman of the Salina County Democratic Party. And you have been that 2 years, Janice. I'm going to talk a little bit more about your job, but let's first talk about these numbers here, what we're seeing so far in the contested races and what your thoughts are.
Where do you want to start?
Well, that's such a good question. Go ahead and start with State Senate 24th District, where that's at the top. Do you have that?
Oh, State Senate, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it's a kind of uncontested.
Right. Are
Kind
we
of an
starting over? No. Yeah,
uncontested
yes, right.
race, and the writing candidate hasn't waged a real good writing candidate.
Yeah.
So the numbers are probably what we would expect.
Right.
So
It was kind of nice that at least that there was that effort to get a writing candidate. It made it a
Yes.
little more exciting for a while.
Yes, it does, and of course, these are not, I think she said these were only 9 precincts
Yes.
reporting, so
Right.
there's still a lot of votes out there.
Right.
So it could switch.
Okay, so let's go down to the Kansas House of Representatives, 69th District. You have Ryan Holmquist as the
Right.
Democrat, who's been just a wonderful candidate, and I have a love for him because he was my kid's music teacher, and they were very involved in music, and he was great. Talk a little bit about his campaign and how close these numbers are at this point with Clark.
Yes, they're very close. He's worked very hard. He has knocked on every door. And I will tell you, he impressed my sister so much because he knocked on the door. She wasn't home or didn't hear, didn't answer. But when she went out, there was a note on her door. He had handwritten her a note asking for her vote.
Wow.
And she was impressed. She said, I will definitely vote for Ryan.
You don't see that a lot, do you?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Okay, we go down to the Kansas House of Representatives 71st District. That's Steve Howe and Jeffrey Zammerslaw. Is this kind of about what you expected, or were you hoping?
Well, I was hoping a little bit better, but
I have to tell you, I watched Howe and Zammerslaw during the forum, but these two, I don't really know them at all.
Right.
I know the names, but I don't know them. I think they're both, have they run for office before?
well, Jeff ran 2 years ago as what you call a placeholder because Diana was going to be primaried, and we wanted a candidate if she lost the primary.
Right.
And she won the primary, so Jeff kind of stepped back and did a minimal amount of work.
right.
And he was really going to be aggressive this time, and he's been out there, but just really just started after the primary really working, so he hasn't had much time to get things done.
Right. But
So-
it's always nice to see somebody doing the work and putting themselves out there as a candidate.
Yes, and I thought he did really, really, really well during the forum.
I did too.
He had answers. He had answers that weren't
Can't.
I was thinking of a nice way to say that. Yes, I
He
was
was
saying
very
right out of the
thoughtful,
Koch.
wasn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say right out of the Koch's playbook is where the other guys,
Oh, dear.
the other guys' answers came from.
Right. Isn't
Yeah.
that amazing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, let's go back to the
yeah, go ahead.
69th for
Please
a minute.
do.
Because I can't believe that Clark's not for a minimum wage of $15. That's a living wage, and he's opposed to that. Clark is opposed to expanding Medicaid, and we need that. Everybody, the majority of the people in the state want that, and he's opposed to that.
Right.
It's beyond me.
Yes. Well, if I could just offer a little bit of thought there. I've known Clark for a long, long time, and I like him in lots of ways. But I feel like sometimes those issues, he thinks that's how a Republican should be. And, minimum wage, that's been forever. Republicans don't want a minimum wage. And what's the other
A
one?
living wage.
Yeah, a living wage. And what's the other issue?
Expanding Medicaid.
Oh, expanding Medicaid. That's a very Republican thing to be against. I think if he'd be a little more thoughtful about it,
Yeah.
he might change his mind.
There's just millions of federal tax dollars escaping our state
Right.
and going to other states. Why
Right.
do I want my income tax money going to some other state? I want it coming back here. I don't know why people don't see that.
Is that still, am I off, or is that still from what Brownback did and the decisions he made not to take federal money, or is it completely different?
Well, it was his decision to begin with, but A, we've got a new governor
Right.
who supports expanding Medicaid.
Right.
And B, it's up to the legislature, really,
Yeah.
not the governor.
They kept voting and
Yeah.
kept it in.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on that before we go on to?
No?
Okay, so the next, you want to talk about the jail a little bit, the special question?
What does it show
Here.
on it?
I can hand it to you.
Okay. Okay. This is a very non-democratic answer, and I will probably get in a lot of trouble with Democrats, a lot, because I do think we need a new jail.
Okay.
I was on the first committee that studied this. Now, I'm not saying we just need a new jail, but we need programs
Right.
to keep those people out of jail.
Right.
That's is equally as important
Right.
as the jail.
Right.
But I don't see spending $5 million housing prisoners out of county
Yeah,
when we could have a new jail, house them here, and get them some help.
right.
I mean, they need mental health issues, and they have drug issues that keep coming back from probation violations because they're probably back on drugs and using
Right.
alcohol and so forth. So we
Right.
need better programs to keep them out of jail. That's
Right.
just what we need. But
And you're saying and Democrats more are going to say, let's focus on the social part of it and leave the building alone. Yeah,
And-
you won't get in too much trouble.
But I just-
don't think.
I just, I do support the jail.
Yeah, well, good.
And I support it being paid by a sales tax, because the people who visit those jails
Right.
spend money and have to pay for the jail,
Absolutely.
and people coming through town buying things spend. So it's not, I'd rather see that than it on the back of property tax owners.
That isn't good. Do you have a question right now?
So
No, we'll pull the microphone over.
I have the same question I do for Jamie. So how these elections is different than 4 years ago? So what you see the difference in these elections? What is your opinion?
In the local election?
In local election and
State.
in the state? Because the pandemic affect too much. So I want to know what kind of difference you see.
Excuse me. I do see a lot more voter turnout. I just came from a 13 and a half hour day at the polls, and
Goodness, you're tired.
yeah, I am, and that's why I'm a little haggled. But we had 123 people vote out in the small town of Fallon, Kansas.
Wow. What is the population there?
I think 90, but of course, it's the township, and it's also part of Washington
that's pretty
Township.
amazing,
But
isn't
that's
it?
a lot of votes. What did I say? It's 134 is what we had.
134, yeah.
134 through the machines and paper. But then we also had a couple of provisional and a couple of, they had gotten advanced
Right.
came and turned it in, so
Right.
those don't go through our machines, so.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think it's a bigger turnout, and I think it's because people are maybe getting a little tired of the same old, and not going anywhere, not getting anything accomplished for the state or county, for that matter.
Right. You want to keep going? I don't want to interrupt you.
So I want to know what exactly you're doing for Salina County,
For Saline County?
for Salina County.
Good question.
Our party, our main party, my main goal is to get people elected, to recruit candidates, make money and support those candidates, and get their names out and their positions out, and that's our main goal. But we also are, I also belong to Saline County Democratic Women, and we meet every month, and we collect money for the food bank. We give money to the food bank every month, and we also, a while back, there was a person we knew that needed a new storm door, so we put some money in a pot and bought her a storm door. So
Nice.
we do community service work too. And we like to recruit and register new voters. But then we need to work on how to get them to the polls. Because you register everybody in the county, but if they don't go vote, it doesn't count. We've asked, for a couple of years, we've offered rides to the polls, and nobody has called and taken us
Yeah,
up on that.
I remember that.
We had bands and everything lined up.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And we had no takers. And we're thinking, and we've done other things to, have food and so forth and register voters, but the turnout is what we need. We need to figure out a good way to get them to the polls and to address the issues that are of concern to them,
Right.
so.
Right. Oh, we have new numbers.
Ooh, good.
Oh, dear. You want to? Okay. All right. Let's just take a minute. We'll look through them. Maybe, do you actually have yours in order? Yeah, mine are from 1 to 15. You can. I'm making such a mess.
Yeah.
Okay, Janice, were you done with the things you wanted to ask?
Thank you.
Oh, you're
Feel
welcome.
free to jump in at any time. You're doing such a lovely job. I love having sort of a different perspective on things. It really
Right.
makes it a learning experience. Yeah.
After the election and all this and down, I really like it, meet you in person, if you can. So, and may you a personal interview, and can you share more information about what you do for the community?
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd be glad to do that.
I think Hispanic people, the community, Latinos here, they be very happy they listen what you're doing for us.
Okay.
That sounds great. Okay, so we got some new numbers. Whoa, it went all the way up to 33 out of 55 precincts. What are you seeing? Yeah, there's it. Yes. What are some things you're seeing, Janice?
Well,
I haven't even had a chance to go through yet.
It looks like Jeff's numbers are jumping up a little bit,
Okay.
which, a little bit.
What page number is he on?
Page 3 out of
Okay,
15.
okay, right.
And Ryan's down a little bit, but again, we don't know
Yeah.
which precincts those are that
are.
are coming in. So,
And that makes a big difference, doesn't it?
yes, it does. And where's the national?
It's on the back, it's on page
Oh, okay.
2, yeah.
Okay, well, I was thinking Barbara Boyer might be a little bit higher than she is.
That's what I thought
That's
as
very
well.
surprising to me because she spent a lot of time in Salina and we had a lot of bipartisan support on that.
I know. And the thing about, and I went to one of her stops and recorded her, so I kind of got a feel for what she was like. The national polls that they didn't do a lot showed them pretty close.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
two
It's
points.
It's probably those horrible, horrendous ads.
What, horrible what?
TV ads.
Oh, I know.
Those were horrendous.
And they were on all the time.
And they were untrue. That's what,
I know.
I mean, they were such a lie.
And they were so ugly to look at, too.
Yeah.
I mean, they did the job they wanted them to do, because
Yep.
I felt like I was watching a horror movie or something.
Yeah.
And they were on the radio as well.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a real big radio person,
Right.
but
Well, I'm not either much, but whenever I did happen to have it on in the car, I heard it. I heard them on the radio too.
But yeah, I think I really think there needs to be some reform on ads
Negative
like
ads,
that.
yeah.
Negative ads. I
Yeah.
think that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Ryan went down just a tad.
Yep.
Like you said, Jeff went up a little. Let's see.
Well, let's go to the jail if we can
Oh,
find
yeah,
it.
where is the jail?
And some of these, the Register of Deeds, some of those offices, well, one, I think Jamie Doss is doing a fabulous job
Yes.
as county clerk.
That
She's-
is what I always think, too.
She's doing an excellent job.
Yes.
But some of these are regulatory jobs. Their party does not make any difference.
Right. They
Who
don't.
you are.
They don't run as a Democrat
No.
or Republican.
They shouldn't run as a Republican
Okay.
or Democrat, I think, or they should
Or
be
do they?
hired.
Do
Yeah.
they sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
But doesn't
We
the
just-
law preclude that or not necessarily?
No, they're supposed to be partisan.
Oh,
The treasurer,
okay.
register
I
of
get ya.
deeds and all those
Yeah, I
are
get you.
partisan offices, but they're regulatory jobs.
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Actually, I don't even think they should be elected. They should be hired. They
Yeah.
should be an employee.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's probably some states that do more of that kind of thing
Yep.
with those positions. I want to get to the jail.
I don't.
Oh, special question, there it is. It's on page 15. Oh, the yeses are creeping up by a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. That's going to be a big deal for Salina County
Yeah.
if that passes. There's going to be lots of money in here brought in as they build.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big thing. Okay, so as in your role, I know you've always been an active Democrat, but now you are president of the Democratic Party in Salina, in Salina County. What is your view overall? This might be too broad of a question, but when you look at Democrats today and Republicans, do you think the roles they play in our lives in our communities, are they shifting? Are Democrats kind of staying along the same lines, and what about Republicans?
Well, I think Republicans are shifting way more conservative.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff they believe is unbelievable.
Right.
Democrats, I still think we try to stay middle of the road. There are some progressives around who really want to see some real change, but they're not out working for that change.
Right.
They need to make their voices more known and get those progressive ideas out there.
Yes. Right.
And I think the more we get Democrats out, the more of us will come out of the woodwork.
Right.
Because there's
Yes.
a lot of people that are afraid to say they're Democrats
In this
city.
I know
Yeah.
that. I know that. It's just Well, does it get kind of grueling for you as you see your candidates always facing the same kind of stuff
Yeah,
from
and the-
Republicans?
Yes, and the same kind of negative ads. I
Yeah.
mean, some of the ads against Ryan were just absolutely
Now, I
ridiculous.
missed those, really. I didn't, for some reason, I didn't miss those. They, was it
I
on
should have
TV
brought
or
them.
on radio?
Mailers, flyers
Oh.
that came in the mail.
Flyers.
Yeah,
Okay, I missed that completely.
yeah. I think one of them talked about, well, I'm not going to say because I don't
Yeah.
remember. I'm
Yeah.
not in the 69th.
Right.
So I didn't get the flyers. I just had to rely on people showing them to me.
Right.
But
And
They
you're-
were-
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, they were just ridiculous.
Did they come kind of recently, too?
Yes, at
Yeah.
the very last minute.
Yeah, that's too bad. Okay, what was I going to ask you? And then we'll let you
But-
go. We'll see if she has any more questions before
But
I'm done.
Ryan did run a lot of ads towards the last also. He knew those bad ads were coming, so
Mm-hmm. He did.
had ads to
How
counter
did
them.
he, is that,
Well,
was it
that's
common
typical.
knowledge?
That's
Yeah.
I am still so mad at the Republicans for when Jarrett ran.
Your son?
Yes. They
In the
took-
69th, right?
Right.
Right.
They put him in a Colin Kaepernick jersey, a gas can, and matches in one hand, standing on the American flag.
You're kidding
No.
me.
And then they said he
Why
didn't.
they do that?
He was pretty darn close to J.R. Clay's that time.
Yeah.
I think that's the time he lost by 275 votes or something like that.
That close.
But then they said he didn't respect the military and the police.
Common
And
ideas.
his dad retired from the Air Force.
Right.
His grandfather served in World War II in the Navy. His great uncles were in World War I.
Right.
How dare they say that?
Right.
And
It
people
was just
believe
not
it.
true. Yeah, well, they believe it because, you know, and this is always going to be the way it is, Janice. You know, among the people we want to vote, we hope they're informed.
Yeah,
And a
and
lot
they're-
of times, being informed is a really hard thing to be. So someone gets that in the mail, and if they don't really know what's up,
They're going to believe that.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it's the same thing with the guns. They swore Obama was coming for their guns for 8 years. He never knocked on my door.
Oh,
mean,
dear, you're making me remember that time. Yes, I kind of forgot about that.
And other stuff that they just claimed was going to happen was going to, and it didn't. So why do they
Right.
still keep claiming it? Barbara Bollier to coming for your, she's not coming for your guns. That's stupid.
Yeah,
It doesn't make sense.
right. I
And people are so gullible to believe that. I just.
They are, and they're not informed.
Right.
Right, right. I was going to ask you about your position as chairman. That's something you're voted.
Right.
The party votes.
The precinct people
The
vote.
precinct people. Okay.
Yes.
So how long is that term for you?
2 years. And then we reorganize every 2 years.
Okay.
And so that after this election is over, we'll have 30 days to reorganize.
Okay. What does that mean exactly?
It means that we choose new executive officers.
Oh,
Or
okay. Okay.
we, the precinct people get together and choose a new executive
Okay.
offices. So I'll put a plug in. If anybody's wanting to hold an office in the Democratic Party, please let me know.
Right.
Because we
Yes.
need to find more precinct people. Again, when I was supposed to be recruiting candidates and recruiting precinct people is when my mother passed away. So
Right.
I did not
Yeah.
do a good job of it.
Rough time.
But still, we need people to step up and to be precinct people. So when an election comes, they can be calling people, they can be knocking on doors. They can let their neighbors know that they're Democrats.
Right. So
You know?
true. Yes.
So-
And that's at that, I mean, it's an overused phrase, but it works. That's at that grassroots level. Those
Right.
precinct people are it.
Yep.
They are down there, that's where they are.
And that's what, we had a really good one, and a gentleman named Ted Hauser a few years ago. He's
Sounds
moved.
familiar.
Yeah, he's moved, but he, at his own expense, sent postcards to everybody in his precinct and
Wow.
introduced himself, and he really was the epitome of a good precinct person.
That's great. I'm going to ask her one more question. Do you have any in the meantime? Okay, no, you don't?
No.
You're good, okay. No, I think I lost my, what I was going to ask you. Oh, I know what it was. Yes, go ahead, go ahead.
So what kind of change you want to see after tonight? So when we see the real results in the elections and who be, so what you want to see? What you like it, the change in Salina?
I think what I'll probably first do, or have somebody help me that's good with data, is find out where we got votes. Did we get the people in, sometimes North Salina doesn't vote as often as they should.
Right.
Sometimes, and see where we got that vote, and see what group of people or what area we need to work on. We need to study that.
That's a very big deal. You know where your voters are, and you can see how you can expand on them.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Try to compare what came out in 18 as to what came out in 20.
When was the last time Jared ran? She has a son, Jared Morris, who was really young when he ran the first time.
Yeah.
Handsome guy, married, couple of kids, just a wonderful candidate. Did he just decide not to do it for a while, or is he done?
I don't know. But now he will be moving into the 108th district. He won't
Okay.
live in the 69th anymore.
Oh,
So-
that's a change.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what I was going to ask you. Kind of like she said, you know, we've been looking at this election for a long time. This is going to decide things. And then for a while, we kind of just move forward. Take Trump and Biden and talk a little bit about how you see the difference being if Trump would win in the next 4 years and if Biden would win in the next 4 years.
Okay, if Biden wins, I think I'm going to see a lot of good for the middle class. Maybe not so much that the rich, super rich are going to like.
Right.
They're going to be taxed, and they need
Right.
to be taxed. And
Right.
I will not buy anything from Amazon because they paid no federal income tax last year.
Are you
I will
kidding?
not buy from
How
them.
did they manage not some kind of deal?
The way they structure their
Yeah. Their
losses of-
finances
yeah,
and
the
their
way-
taxes and all that
Right,
stuff.
yeah.
No federal income tax?
And that's
Oh,
just
dear.
beyond me. Just, I can't fathom that.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have a lot more civility.
Yes.
Biden is not going to put up with any kind of name calling and that type of thing. And if Trump gets reelected, it's going to be the same thing it's been the last 4 years, and worse, because he knows he can get away with it.
Isn't that the truth? Yes. And I asked somebody a question earlier, and it just basically came out as more of a statement, but those two are polar opposites in personality and how they manage things.
Yes.
And that's what makes this election so interesting to so many people.
And if Biden wins, there's going to be cool, smart, intelligent people on his cabinet who are going to run those offices like they should.
But we have, how many conservatives now in the Supreme Court? How many do we?
Yeah.
Is it 6? Is it, oh, no,
It's there's 9 and 5.
Is it
No,
5,
6
4?
to 3. I think it's 6 to 3, isn't it?
I don't know. I knew the basics of that, but I'm not sure. Is 6 to 3?
I think so.
Well, interesting.
And that's got to be something needs to be done about that. And
Yes.
because once you become a judge in any way, shape, or form, you are non-political. Your politics and your personal preference don't pay in it. You are to read the law
Right.
and interpret the law
Right.
on a non-biased basis. And that's not been happening with the Supreme Court for quite a while now.
Yes.
Although I will say that I think there were some places in Texas today that did allow voting, the drive-through voting. They were supposed to throw out, the Republicans wanted to throw out 127,000 votes.
I did hear
And-
about that.
and-
The Supreme Court overturned, or let them keep doing it, right?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. The state court said that was okay. The federal court said that was okay. Now, I haven't heard any news for 13 hours today, so I don't know what's happened.
Right, right.
But,
Is there
and I
any-
want to
oh,
say something
yes,
cool for the
please
poll
do.
workers. These people give up their entire day. We have to be there at 6 a.m. We can't leave, so we have to pack 2 lunches, a lunch and a dinner. We don't leave until everything is done.
Right.
And then the judges drive the stuff in. I mean, our guy came all the way in with all of our materials.
Right.
And I think they need a big shout out to all the poll workers.
Wow,
And
that's a big job.
And most of the time, they're elderly. They're retired people because,
Right.
A, we can take off work, or we don't have work.
Right.
So, but I think the poll workers just do a tremendous job. And we had a couple of interesting situations, so, and they are
With
super.
voter interaction.
Yeah, and, well, not really.
No.
With, one person had registered to vote online, and his application didn't go through. So
Okay.
we had to work a provisional ballot. And our
Okay.
supervising judge was so good to work with him and be
Yes.
kind about it and
Yes.
encourage him. And
That's a very big deal, because one thing like that could affect a whole bunch of people.
yeah, and then we had another guy who had to vote provisional because somebody transposed his address and it didn't match what we had.
Oh, dear.
And, I mean, that wasn't his fault.
No, no.
And so he had to vote provisional, and I'm sure his vote will be counted, but.
Yes.
um,
Yeah, that's
and
more
our-
kind of
and
interesting,
again,
actually.
Our poll worker, our supervising judge was really good and kind and
Yeah.
worked through
Well,
it.
again, at the grassroots level,
Mm-hmm.
people working in the system to do, a lot of people don't even know that those people exist.
Right.
But they do those jobs because they want to, and
Yep.
maybe like it a little bit, but, because it's something they think they should do.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, before we wrap up, is there anything more you want to ask?
I'm okay.
Okay, anything you want to add, Janice?
Oh. Not that I can think of right now,
Okay.
except I appreciate the interview and the time
Yes.
to speak, and I hope our candidates can pull it off in the later
Right.
hours here.
Right.
So,
Okay, you need to go home and go to bed, though.
I am so tired, and I have to work tomorrow.
Oh, dear. Well,
So,
yeah,
anyway.
you better go home and go to, well, but you want to see the results.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
So.
I think you should go to sleep.
I'll listen on the way home.
Thanks,
Okay,
Janice.
thank
You
you.
can just get up and walk.
Okay.
We're just kind of, he's running the cameras, and when we're not interviewing, he just takes the shot of the open room. And takes the mics off. What? Oh, yeah, go ahead. we just got the last report, Jamie. And you jump in anytime you want to, Sue. Not a lot of surprises, but kind of give us the overview of what you're seeing here.
Your mic.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Jamie. Can you give us the overview of what you're seeing here? Not a lot of surprises, but nonetheless, it is what it is. So explain what we're seeing now and if there's anything much that can affect it.
Okay, so what we have now is all of the precincts for Election Day, and obviously the early and advance have been reported in these final totals. We will still have some advance that were dropped off at the polls. We will also still have a few that will come in by mail. And then we will also have the provisionals at a later date that will affect the overall percentage of turnout, so.
Right.
So we're at 62%, almost 63%, which is normally what we run in a presidential election.
Right.
Unfortunately, it didn't go higher than, a higher number than what we kind of figured.
It'll be
so.
interesting to see what happens around the country if the numbers mainly stay the same or not. I mean, Kansas is a pretty a pretty average state. My guess is there probably isn't going to be a big difference, but I'm guessing so.
Yeah.
All right, what comes up next?
Okay, so do you just want me to go over each of the races
Yeah,
that
sure.
are
Absolutely.
contested?
Yep.
Okay, so obviously for the presidential electors, we have Trump and Pence with 15,175, Biden and Harris for 7,910, and Jorgensen and Cohen for 567. For the United States Senate, we have Roger Marshall with 14,166. Barbara Boyer with 8,362. Jason Buckley, 1,071. For the United States House of Representatives, we're in the 1st District. Tracy Mann was 16,030 votes. Callie Barnett was 7,336. For the Kansas House of Representatives in the 69th District, we had Ryan Holmquist with 3,286. Clark Sanders, 4,781. In the 71st District of the House, we have Stephen Howe with 6,961. Jeffrey Zamersla with 3,151. And then, let's see.
Jail.
Then the jail question.
Right.
Which I know a lot of people, for our local community,
Yeah, I think so.
the jail question for the local community will obviously affect us.
Right.
Right now, we are currently at 12,444 at yes, and 10,600 at no.
Right, so that pretty much looks like a done deal. I mean, there are things out there that can happen, but this was their second try to go to the community,
Yes.
is that right? How
yes.
long ago was the first time?
Oh, goodness.
I mean, not exactly, but like a long time ago?
Not a
No,
huge,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
It's been something that they have felt that's been needed for a while,
A
so.
long time, yeah. Any questions for Jamie?
Are you tired, Jamie?
I'm not tired. I've actually been here since 5 o'clock this morning. I was up at 3:45, and
Oh, dear.
you just go and until the job gets done, and so
Right.
no.
Right.
So can you give me a better idea when we can have the results? So I know you talk about Friday, we have a better, the finals.
And so once we get those numbers in, we'll include those provisionals in with all of the totals. So
Right.
there aren't any, which gets said a lot, they're like, well, are there any votes that you don't count?
Right.
It's like, we put everything in tallies that is legally allowed to. So all of the early, all of the advance, all the stuff that comes in the mail.
Don't throw anything away.
And then all the provisionals that, if they get accepted by the Board of County Canvassers, those also are in the totals. So when you're seeing the turnout, you're seeing every vote that was cast that was accepted.
Well, you do a really good job
thank
managing
you.
all that. Yes. All right, Jamie, we'll let you go. And again, thank you for your time. And you explain things so well. I so
Well, thank you.
appreciate it. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yes, thanks, Jamie. And that brings us to, I do believe, a close on the whole show. Erica, it was so great to work with you. We'll be doing it more. And again, thanks a lot, Jamie. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.